I'm so sick, I feel like the plague. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie, and today I'm going to be giving you my March wrap up. And I am so sorry, I keep getting sick. I can barely breathe right now, but this video has to go up, so please bear with me. So as I said, I have been very sick. Like every week it's a new sickness, and I am sick of being sick. That means that I also didn't read that much this month. Also, I have been super busy with schoolwork. I am in college and I take online classes. I take one class at a time for 5 weeks and then I start a new class. I just wrapped up one of my classes and then started another one, and so like there was a lot to pack in, and then this new class that I started has a crazy amount of homework. It's been ridiculous. I have no time to do anything but school and work. I'm very frustrated because this month started out as a really good reading month, and then I didn't read for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was bad. With that being said, I only completed 5 books in the month of March. The first book I finished is Things I Sing Without You by Peter Bogani, and this is a story about grief and loss and hardship in general, and like adventure and looking at life with a positive attitude and being resilient. This story follows a 17-year-old girl named Tess who had a long-distance relationship with a boy named Jonah, and Jonah recently passed away from suicide, and she is just kind of trying to come to terms with his death because it's something that she did not expect. She talked to him every day. She was in love with him, and she didn't know that he was depressed. She didn't know that he was having suicidal thoughts. And then also she starts corresponding texts and emails and that kind of stuff with his best friend, and it's just like the both of them trying to figure out what happened and trying to ease the other person's grief. And the main character also has some family issues going on of her own. It was a really good book. It didn't like really stick with me. There was nothing like super special about it, and I read books like this all the time about grief and those kind of things, so it's not something that definitely stuck out to me, but I did enjoy it while I was reading it. The next book I read is Open Road Summer by Emery Lord. I really love this book. This book follows a teenage girl named Reagan whose best friend Dee is actually a famous country music superstar named Lila Montgomery, and Reagan decides to go on a summer tour with Dee, who's actually known to the public as Lila. Reagan is known for being rebellious and having a bad past with criminal activity, getting into trouble. So this tour over the summer is her way of kind of putting that in her past and becoming a new person, becoming a better version of herself. And then things change when a male pop star ends up joining the tour and a romance sparks. I really liked this book, and I think it has a lot to do with the music and the friendships and everything. I really related to those types of things because I am a musician and I have a really close friendship with my best friend, and this book reminded me a lot about myself and a lot about my own life, which I really enjoyed. I love this book. Next, I read Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and I did buddy read this with 2 other booktubers who I will leave in the description below. This is a fantasy story following these 3 different kingdoms who are on the verge of war, and it follows various different characters. It has so many characters. There's like literally like 3 pages in the beginning of the book just listing out the characters and explaining to you who they are. I have not read the Song of Ice and Fire series, and I have not watched the Game of Thrones TV show, but I have been told that this series really resembles Game of Thrones, and from what I know of Game of Thrones, I definitely can see where people would get that because it's a huge epic fantasy story following a bunch of different characters, and I will say this author is not afraid to kill off characters, so if you enjoy books that are more realistic, because like this is a war, people are gonna die, that happens in this book. I didn't really connect to one of the main characters, but I still liked her enough to enjoy the series for what it was. And then I also really enjoyed one specific main character who I just absolutely fell in love with. And I haven't finished the second book yet, but things are going places. Next, I read Karvall by Stephanie Garber. This is an adult fantasy magical story about this. People describe it as a circus, but it's not really a circus, but it kind of resembles one and is like the closest thing to compare it to is a circus, but it's not a circus. Basically, it's this magical game in its own little town. You don't know what's reality and what's a part of the game, and people come to compete, and you basically have to find different clues, and whoever makes it to the end of the clues wins like a big prize. And in this particular game of Karvall, you get one wish from the man who runs it. So if you win, he will grant you anything that you desire. But this game is very dangerous. People die. So this game is very risky, and some people go crazy because of the distorted realities. And this book follows these two sisters, and they decide to participate in Karvall, but as soon as they get there, one of the sisters vanishes, and so the other sister plays the entire game trying to find her missing sister. I did really enjoy this book. Next, I read The Shadow Queen, which is the first book in the Ravenspire series by C.J. Redwine, and this is a retelling of Snow White. So basically, the evil queen married into the royal family, and she killed the royal family. However, the daughter, who is the Snow White character, along with her brother, actually escaped, and the evil queen thinks that they are both dead, but they aren't, and they're actually in disguise going around the kingdom and trying to stir up a rebellion. And the main character, Lorelai, who is the Snow White character, the princess, she has magic that is unlike anything that anyone has ever seen. And so all these years she's been training in her magic to be able to combat the evil queen's magic and save her kingdom and take it all back and restore the land back to life. I really enjoyed the magical aspect of this book. There's also an element of these dragon-like creatures. They are dragons, but they actually have human form. So the dragon prince from the nearby kingdom ends up going to the evil queen for help because his country is being overrun by these magical ogres who can't really be defeated. So he goes to the evil queen to use her magic to save his kingdom, and then things happen, and he is the huntsman character. I did have an issue with the romance, and there was just some things that I can't go into without spoiling it that I didn't like, but it has to do with the huntsman plotline. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was done fairly bad. Sorry. I did really like the book though. There was just one thing that I was not a fan of. Alright, those are the 5 books that I read in the month of March. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish content by me. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!